All right, so I'm not actually new to Tekken, and I'm not new to fighting games, but I'm like trying to learn Tekken. Played it for a long time, but I've never actually noticed before that in training mode, I cannot get the character to do an attack and then block to practice punishing. I just found out a few minutes ago the only way for me to know if something is a true punish is for me to look for the words punish on the side of the screen underneath where it says damage, total, max combo damage, whatever. This is less efficient than using attack then block like auto guard has in every game. Well, every game that I've played, where you can put something, you can set the character to do something, and then immediately after they're done doing that attack, they're guarding. Normally, like, you could do auto guard here by setting CPU action to stand, CPU action to guard all, right? You cannot make them do an attack. The only way you can make them do an attack and then block immediately afterwards is to get someone to use the second player controller. You can't even use Mimic for this, because you have to do the move that you want them to do, and you can't do anything else after it. So what I was trying to do is do this, make him block it, and then try to do his fastest move, his 10 frame or whatever jab, and then, you know, mess around with moves to see what would probably be the best course of action. You know, I mean, I guess I can just use a frame data app and go, okay, well, this is plus 11, but in the frame data app it says it's plus 11 with a little G after it, and I don't necessarily know what that means. So I was basically just trying to test it to see what would happen. And it won't, and I can't do that. So like, now that I know I can practice punishes, but what I wanted to do was make him block something that was plus and then do other moves so I can get used to doing it. Using the auto guard method like in any other game, when you do an attack and they guard something and then retaliate with another move, you can get used to doing things, you can get used to seeing things like that, and it's better. So like, if I set him to do an attack, let's say oh, and I can go to repeat action, right? Go to repeat action, I can set him to do an attack with the moves list. Let's say I have him do, I don't know, what was the move I was trying to practice against earlier? It's not this. Oh, I don't know. Let's see what happens when I do this. Okay, that's unblockable. It's not what I wanted to do. That's kind of weird. It was back something. It was back something. I think it was this. Yeah, it was this. It was that. That was what I was practicing against earlier. So I would want him to do that and then block for me to see if I could get a punish. But instead, you have him do this, and then you hit something, and if you didn't know to look for punish, you'd be like, oh, that punishes. So people that are not like savvy with frame data and are trying to learn the game, right, and they're just like, oh, well, let me see if I can punish this thing by pressing this button. So I have them do the move and then press a button. I'm like, oh, that's a punish. Oh, that's a punish. That must be a punish, right? No, it's not a punish because it didn't say punish. I don't even think it's punishable. It's not punishable. But you wouldn't know that because I can't make them block. So unless I looked it up and realized that I was supposed to look for that punish thing Like normally when it says counter hit, it comes up there. When it, I don't know what other words come up there, but all I know is counter hit does come up there. I know combo comes up there, damage comes up there, but I didn't know punish came up there until I looked it up, and I'm like, that's just really unintuitive. Another problem I have is that I figured that repeat action, because it changes the whole thing. They take the repeat action out. They take everything else out that's down here, or these two. All this stuff changes. So like instead of being able to put repeat action and then setting guard all, so that when he's done doing the action he guards, which would serve the purpose that I'm trying to do, right? This all changes when you select repeat action. So now I have a selected action, and I don't know what this frequency thing means. I guess it just means he does it faster, slower in between intervals, but this is the interval between action. So if I want it to be long or short, I don't know what this means. This number 100, I don't know what that means. The frequency of each action can be set on this. What does that mean though? I realize that it can be set, but what does that mean? I looked up something where somebody was explaining it. King J didn't even know what this meant. He just read the bottom of the screen and he was like, oh well, you can do this, but what does that do? I don't know what it does. So even if I set a second move afterwards, let's say I just set chopping elbow or whatever, right? So he does that, right? It doesn't do the moves on the list in order. It just randomizes them. So okay, I think I just realized what this is for. So it will do, if you set this lower and you set this higher, it will do this move more often, or it will do the move with 100, it'll do more often than it does the move with 10. That's what it is, the frequency. I just now realized that. But that's still why? So that I can set my randomizer to do something more often, and then I guess it throws it. It might as well just be random. This is useless. But whatever. But if I wanted these moves to be done in order, I can't do that. I can't have him do one action and then do another action immediately after to see if, like, okay, he does this one move that's plus, and then this person does this immediately after he does that move, so I can see how to deal with that section, or to deal with that situation. Should I sidestep? Should I keep blocking? Should I jab him out of it? Can I launch the next thing that he does? Like, get used to seeing it, get used to doing it, so that when I see it happen in game and I recognize that someone is doing it, I can remember that that's what they do, rather than trying to do it in match all the time and just getting blown up for it, which is the only way that I can learn those situations now. So it's just like a lot of little things that are just wrong with this action setting thing. Like, they could have easily just put repeat action, like if I wanted them to guard something and then do something immediately after, like if I wanted to see what move was faster, I would set them to guard, I would do a move that is neutral on block, and then press the button that I want to see is faster, and have a move set for him that I want to see if it's faster, or can it beat it. But I mean, again, I can just go to the frame data for that, but the frame data is not readily accessible in the game, so I should be able to do this. Everybody doesn't know about frame data. A lot of people don't even use frame data. They just use training mode to see what's good, or what's safe, what's not safe, what's punishable, what's plus, and stuff like that. Although they might have a different name for it, like if it's safe or unsafe, or if they're at advantage or at disadvantage. People might not use the frame data, but they know how to do that in training mode, but it's not here in training mode. I don't know if they expected everybody who plays Tekken to use frame data, but everybody doesn't use it. Especially if you're new to the FGC or you're new to fighting games, they should definitely like change that. I don't know what the previous training modes in other Tekkens were like, because I didn't try to do things like this in previous Tekkens because I wasn't trying to be competitive in the game. But I learned a bunch of stuff, but then when I want to go learn, oh well, I'm having trouble with this string of moves, how do I do that? I got to use the record feature, but which means I have to learn that string of moves with the character that I don't use. I have to learn this whole string of moves, not mess it up, and try to do it perfectly, and then set them to play it. Another problem with that, these are just problems that are just keep cropping up. So if I want to set the character to do a running normal or a running attack or whatever, I can't do that running attack while I'm in their face. So when I set the computer to repeat action record and I do running 1+2, the next time they try to do running 1+2, they're not going to be able to do it because they're not going to be able to run because they're in my face, which means I have to stop it. I got to move back. But when you set the character to do the move from the moves list, they just do it standing in place, which means I don't have to like, oh, I can't set it because I have what's name set as the character, but like, wait, what? Oh, I have, yeah, if I set it to be done in the moves list, like a running move, they'll do the move while they're standing in place, which is what I definitely need them to do. Let me see if he has a running move real quick. Here's a running move, Snake Slash. If I set him to do Snake Slash, he does it standing in place. He does not have to run to do it. He does it standing in place, which means that he can do it more times in my face. And then so when he does that, he'll run, do the snake edge or whatever, snake strike or whatever the fuck it's called, Snake Slash. He'll do Snake Slash in my face and then set him to do something after, so I can see if, you know, I can retaliate against it or something. See if I can sidestep the other move that comes after it to get used to the situation. But I can't do that in this game. I have to do it myself and do it the long way, the workaround way, because the training mode doesn't allow me to do something that is available in training mode. It's just not letting me select it outside of repeat action. Like literally, a moves list option should be here. A moves list option should be here, and the moves list option should be here, right underneath or above player 2 controller. Like, there's just things that are just not in this training mode that I don't understand how they could have missed, and how people aren't talking about this, because I don't know, maybe it's because so many people have played, like the Tekken 7 community is so old, not saying literally old, but like there's so, people have played the game for so long that they're just like, well, I already know all the character strings and moves, and I got to do all these workarounds, and it's just second nature to me to do these workarounds. Like, it needs to be there.